So what inspired me to become passionate about wellness and health and fitness and everything that's encompassed within that is through my own personal journey. So I had quite low self-esteem for a long time, and I really didn't like who I was, and I didn't like the way that I looked. So when I was growing up, I was on the thinner side, and then in my early 20s I started to put on weight, and I actually got substantially bigger than what I am now. And it just got to a point where I was so unhappy with that I really needed something. I just needed something to help me move through that and really start to learn how to love my body. And I found that. I found what I was looking for. I found it in my spirituality. So I was involved in a program called Body Beautiful. What that looked at was what I was actually looking for, because it encompassed not only the fitness side of things, so exercise and all that kind of stuff, but it actually looked at who you are from the inside. And so learning to appreciate your body as beautiful, learning to love yourself as beautiful, and then seeing the transformation through that. So that was my starting point. That's kind of helped me to start to move things, and then I started to go deeper with that within myself, and I continued on doing my own exploration through that, and really found that I really have a drive now and a passion to want to help other people, particularly women, learn to love themselves and learn to love their bodies, not only if it's a thinner size, but if it's a bigger size, learning how to love yourself regardless of what you look like. For me, that's quite empowering. In our Western society, in our Western culture, it's so uncommon for a woman to be satisfied. Like if you went out on the street and you asked 100 women, describe their body in one word, I would say 95%, if not more, would give you a word that is not a positive thing. So they would say it's disgusting, or it's fat, it's frumpy. Like they use all these words to talk about themselves, and it energizes that, and it's really hard to find a woman that truly appreciates the body in the shape that it's in. And I think that that's really sad in one way. It's not something that can't be changed. And I think if we can encourage women to really start to connect with who they are inside and love themselves from that space, it can transform their whole life, and it can transform their body as well if that's what they choose. But they're choosing to come from it from a place of love and not from a place of forcefulness. In traditional weight loss methods, it's through strict dieting and all that kind of stuff, or through a lot of exercising, and yes, I agree that they are ways that work, totally are, but I like to use a more friendlier approach, which encompasses the positive aspects of fitness. We want a healthy body, we want to be doing exercise and promoting that kind of thing, but also promoting the well-being of the person, so that if they do happen to have some kind of episode where they overeat or something like that, they're not sitting there hating themselves, they're not beating themselves up for that. They know how to turn that around and go, okay, that's not a failure at all, I see that as a stepping stone. So it's not so much about changing the body, but you bring it back to, okay, I want to be healthy, I want to be fit, I want to be athletic. They're your affirmations, but your main focus is on learning how to love the self. You can then actually encourage the body, the physique, to change through that. So you make that decision, but you're not making it from that drive that says I have to do this to be happy. You're making it from a decision of I love myself, but I actually would like to change my body to be healthier. And so that's the kind of the difference in the level of consciousness, or the mindset of where you're coming from in actually doing that. I would definitely say you need to have to want to do it for yourself at some point along the way. Otherwise, you're going to end up reverting back to some of your old patterns and behaviours in that. And when it comes down to it, the most important, you can try and get love from other people. You can try and get all this appreciation and approval about the way you look from other people, but it's never going to be enough unless you love yourself. And so if you're being driven from another external thing, then you're still not addressing the problem that's there. You're still not going to love yourself at the end of the day. And if you want to see long-lasting change and progress, then that's key. Loving yourself is key. So I train people. That's one thing I do in group classes and also one-on-one. as part of that, all of my clients I actually do energy work with as well. So the energy that we're using, it's divine energy, it's soul energy, and it's everybody has a soul and everybody has connection to the divine. Just some people are more awake and some people are more aware and connected to that energy than others. So I'm an Ignite Your Spirit healer, and I incorporate that work into the fitness training programs. So before every session we'll connect. So I teach people how to meditate, how to connect with their internal landscape, and then we do thought form clearing. So that's part of Ignite Your Spirit therapy, is looking at the thoughts and beliefs that are sitting within the being of the person. So energetically I can have a look at that, and then we start to use energy and we clean it out and we replace it with what we want. So if there's an addiction there, or there is thoughts and beliefs about being overweight, or that it's really hard to exercise, then we can actually start to shift that and replace it with the opposite, that it's easy to exercise, that it's really enjoyable experience, that it's easy to lose weight, that it's easy to love ourselves. This is more potent than just doing affirmations, because we're actually working with energy, and you're actually, for example, if you have a coffee cup and you don't clean that coffee cup, like it's had milk and stuff in it, you don't clean it, and then what you're doing is you just pour that out, but the cup's still dirty, and then you pour your next cup of coffee in. So what you're actually doing is cementing more of that gunk in place, and you're not actually cleaning that out. So using the energy, what we're doing is actually cleaning the coffee cup out, so then you can put a new cup of coffee, which will be your affirmations, in on top of that. The more we clean up the thoughts and things like that, the more we can actually start to access more of that energy, because it flows in more freely. And the more we connect to ourselves in that inner landscape, the more we connect into that energy and the more we can have access to. But most definitely everybody has the potential to access that energy. It's not simply secluded to anybody in particular. The other area of passion that I have is in assisting women, particularly with eating disorders and binge eating, anorexia, bulimia, really helping women to move out of that, because a lot of women that have had those experiences tend to believe that they've got that for the rest of their life, and it's a cycle they can't break. And in my experience, that's not true. It can be healed, and we can look at it from an energetic perspective. We can have a look clairvoyantly and have a look into what's actually happening within the person, and shift some common beliefs and things around that. I openly admit that I'm not perfect in all of these things. I do believe it's part of what I can offer to people in helping them to overcome these eating issues and things, and body weight and stuff like that. But I still have things come up in my life around this as well. And so what I like to do is meditate upon it, reflect, go internal, expand my awareness and consciousness around it, and actually see what's sitting there. And then looking at my emotions around that and seeing what ties do I have underneath that, and using the tools and methods that I've been trained in, and to go a bit deeper and start to move through it and change the thoughts and patterns that might be sitting there. Just start is something that I say to a lot of people, is just start, because often that can be the hardest part. Like, we're continuously putting off, I'm going to start eating better tomorrow, I'm going to start eating better on Monday, I'll start an exercise program next week. It's always this kind of thing that we tend to put off as not being so important. And I would recommend finding a mentor of some description, because it really helps to do it with a friend, like that has similar goals, or just to find somebody that can offer you positive advice and things like that. Like, I love seeing somebody else actually learn how to love themselves. Like, I'm just trying to think. It's very inspiring. It's really, really inspiring to see people just be so grateful, because if they could do it themselves, then they would. So they need that help from somebody else to help them start to move or to learn about these things. And it brings me a sense of great joy and satisfaction to be able to help another woman really start to appreciate who they are as a person, and to help them overcome something that's often been a lifelong battle for them. It brings me just immense gratitude and joy into my life to know that I can help somebody by doing something that I love. Yeah.